Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to the ELLICSR Kitchen. We have another fantastic class for you today. My name is Jeremy Capone. I am the wellness chef here.
And I'm Stephanie Gladman, the registered dietitian.
And we were joined by special guest. This is Tony White. He's the board director and awareness lead of the Lymphoma Association of Ontario. And he's looking very buff today in his, Lymphedema Association of Ontario, yes.
I only recently learned the difference.
Yes.
All right. Do you want me to say a few
Yes.
words?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
please.
Really pleased to be with both of you, Steph and Jeremy. We've sat in on a previous class and just saw how interesting it is, how well it's done, and how good the food tastes at the end. So
Yeah.
really good to be here. The Lymphedema Association of Ontario.
Yes.
Which we refer to as the LAO, it's a lot easier to speak about, is actually a proud community partner with ELLICSR.
Yes.
So we're here in that capacity today as well. And I should say my colleague Anna was supposed to be here today. In fact, she was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, something arose yesterday which prevents her from being here. So we say hi to her and hope to see you back soon. Anna, we need you. I also want to say thank you for not only the apron. I was told by some of the attendees in the front row that it gave me abs.
Yes.
So I want to may I hang on to this?
Absolutely.
It improves my image. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you. So just a word on lymphedema and the LAO, our organization. And I think Steph is going to give a little bit more on lymphedema, but it's a chronic condition which can become very debilitating, as some of you unfortunately may know or be aware. It's caused by a buildup of lymph fluid in the tissues. I've seen it in the arms and the legs, leading to swelling, pain, discomfort, and increased risk of infection. You can be born with it, that's called primary lymphedema, or experience it as a result of various cancer treatments. And while there's no cure, if it's diagnosed and treated early, it can be managed. And the little plug I would put in is if there's, if you have a cancer and swelling starts to develop in a limb, like don't hesitate to get it diagnosed and start to move on it, because the earlier you do, the more effectively you can control it. So what is the LAO? The LAO is an organization, charitable organization, dedicated to improving the lives of not only lymphedema sufferers and healthcare professionals as well, but by offering information about lymphedema and lymphedema resources in Ontario. For example, we provide a directory of lymphedema certified therapists and product fitters in the province. And for more information, because I don't want to go on and bore you with too much detail, you can visit our website for further details, which is www.lymphodontario, all one word, .ca. Easy to find. We also offer memberships for the large sum of something like $28 a year for members, which includes copies of Pathways, which is a national magazine put on by the Canadian Lymphedema Foundation. We contribute a portion of that magazine every quarterly and provide a newsletter insert updating readers on what we're doing and what we're hoping to be doing. How do we get funded? Well, we're supported. Our revenue really comes from membership fees, donations, charitable events, which are usually a yearly affair, and advertising in our newsletter and as well as other LAO events. So again, I say we're proud ELLICSR community partners, and I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you. And I'll mention as well, thank you, Tony. Mention as well, we'll post all the information on how to contact the Lymphedema Association of Ontario on the website. And then if you have any other questions for anyone who's here, you can chat with Tony after the class.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you for that summary. I don't actually have anything to add to the definition, though, I do want to say that in terms of the research regarding nutrition, there is no one specific food or diet that can help necessarily prevent lymphedema. But there is research to show that those who are overweight, the symptoms might worsen. Okay, so the swelling and wherever the wherever the limb is. So, the really looking towards, there's other kind of ways to manage lymphedema, along with exercise, massage, getting the intervention that's needed, and diet is one of those ways. So when we do talk about managing weight, we're looking at food as one of the possibilities for intervention. And as we know, with weight management and weight loss, there's tons of information and research on the best type of diet out there, right? You might have heard low fat, low calorie, low carbohydrate, intermittent fasting. And the truth is the jury's out on which is the best fit. And it's really about assessing what is best for your body and, working with a healthcare professional like a registered dietitian. But for the purpose of today's class, we're going to focus on 3 recipes that we've curated to really focus on how to help with managing weight. And I'll give it to Jeremy
Perfect.
to kind of start us off.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Tony.
I'm getting nervous though.
No.
I'll actually have to start to participate here.
Yes, you will. That's all right. So yes, we put together 3 recipes highlighting a lot of what Stephanie's already talked about, a little bit more of the balance, including some more plant-based ingredients and some sort of leaner protein choices and good fats. So the first thing that we want to do, or we're going to jump into, is we're going to make a nice sort of summery flatbread. I'll only say this once because I do not like reminding myself it is the middle of August, so the summer is almost done. So let's take advantage of these wonderful seasonal vegetables and fruits. So we're going to, and the other thing as well is we want to make these recipes fairly accessible, very easy to prepare. Whether someone is dealing with lymphedema or just fatigue in general, I'm sure you don't want to be spending a lot of time in the kitchen. You don't want to be lifting a lot of things or chopping and doing a lot of vegetable prep. So we've also designed these recipes to keep that in mind. We're going to make them fairly simple. You're looking very buff, so you don't have to worry about that. But
Thank you.
we're going to still make it really easy. Okay, so we are going to make a zucchini flatbread. Love zucchini, especially at this time of year. And we're gonna make almost like a sweet and sour marinade for it. So what I have here is some onion, which I've chopped up. Now, this is what we're doing. You can follow the same template and then swap in the vegetables that you like. I mean, it does not have to be zucchini, but we're gonna use zucchini today. Now, I can slice this up. If you have a mandolin, you can do that for you. We're gonna make this really easy. If you have a vegetable peeler, that's really all you need to prep the zucchini.
Jeremy, what is a mandolin? I thought that was a musical instrument.
It is also a musical instrument, but a mandolin is sort of a slate with a blade in the middle, and you can sort of thinly slice. It can be very dangerous, so use the guard, but this is just as good. And so what we're gonna do is almost like we were peeling a carrot, we're gonna peel the zucchini very simply just into these nice little strips, these nice little ribbons. And that means that it's going to cook a lot faster in the oven. It's going to be a much nicer bite at the end. And the water is going to evaporate a lot quicker as well. Zucchini has a lot of water. If we put something with a lot of water on, like a flatbread or a pizza, it's going to make it soggy, right? So we want it nice and thin. First task. Can you handle this?
I'll try.
All right. Now,
should I wear gloves?
No, you're good. I think you're safe. So we're gonna peel it just till we get close to the middle, then you can kind of turn it around. That middle piece that you're left with, you can chop that up, or you can use it in something else. Okay. Now,
so I'll just say
yes,
that
go ahead.
when we're looking at making balanced meals, we look at the Mediterranean diet, which is the one that is the most researched in terms of looking at a healthy eating pattern. And I've spoken about this before, but really focusing on balancing your meals, the plate specifically.
Stay on the same side.
So you'd focus on making at least half of your plate coming from vegetables or any type of fiber. A quarter of the plate coming from protein and a quarter of the plate coming from complex carbohydrates. So a pizza or a flatbread is a really great example of, like, that's not a plate, but you can use that concept really in a bowl form, a casserole, a smoothie, a sandwich, whatever you choose. And really focusing on the balance of those three elements can help allow you to feel fuller for longer, which is one of the key things while maintaining or losing weight.
Fantastic job.
Excellent.
Wow. Matches your chest. I was going to say your apron, but it's yes. So that's exactly what we want. Beautiful, really nice and delicate. You can even dress this, use this in a salad. Really, really nice. So we're gonna add this to our bowl here, and we're gonna make just a quick little marinade for this. Now we're doing this sort of sweet and sour kind of mix. So we have this is white balsamic vinegar. You can use any vinegar for this. The reason I'm using white balsamic vinegar is because it's already a little sweet and sour to begin with, so it already cuts a lot of the ingredients in half. If I just use a regular vinegar, you can even just use a little bit of honey and just mix that in there to kind of get this sweet and sour balance. So apple cider vinegar you can use as well. Yeah, I'd put a little bit of honey because those are pretty intense. The white balsamic is a little milder and has a little bit of sweetness to it. So you can add about half of that there. Perfect. We're gonna add a good Italian drizzle of olive oil.
And
maybe a little bit more. There we go. Very good.
And you don't want to be too scared about fat, right? Like, as long as you're incorporating heart-healthy fats, so anything that's an unsaturated fat, olive oil, avocados, olives, and these are things that are going to create bulk, right? They, although higher in calorie, yes, they do keep you fuller for longer. So again, it is something to incorporate into that plate in order to ensure that you're eating and feeling full, so that you can sustain your energy levels throughout the day.
So we're going to toss it up into the marinade, and you can let it sit for a little bit. It actually helps to break down the onions as well. The onions raw and it can be a little intense. With a little bit of that acidity from the vinegar, or even if you use lemon juice, it'll actually cut through that heat, that intensity quite a bit. So you can do that ahead of time, let it sit for 5 minutes. Decide, perfect, excellent. For this one, no. So this one, because I used the white balsamic, I didn't need to. Now for the base, absolutely, you can make your own pizza dough if you're feeling ambitious. We have lots of pizza dough recipes on our website. I'll do a quick plug. You can check that out. They have pizza doughs ready in grocery stores. You can use that as well. Again, it's about spending maybe less time cooking, more time enjoying the end product and the summer, I guess. Yeah. So we have a little cheat here, and we're just using whole wheat pitas, which is fantastic to use. Yeah.
So when you're looking for any type of pita or bread, again, fiber is one of those things that helps keep you fuller for longer. So, choosing ones that when you look at the nutrition facts label, that it's more than 2 grams of fiber per serving is something to look out for when you're choosing those types of foods.
Okay, and so to top this, the cheese selection that we decided to go with is ricotta cheese. Mm-hmm. Do you like ricotta cheese?
Yes.
All right, so we like ricotta cheese as well.
Yes.
For a number of reasons.
For nutrition purposes. So it is a little bit lower in fat and more of those saturated fats. And it's also lower in sodium, which I will get to in the next recipe. But sodium does kind of retain water. And, for those who are experiencing swelling, it might make it worse. Okay, so just kind of looking at the types of packaged foods that you're buying and comparing and choosing one that's lower in sodium. The other thing that we love about it is that it's also high in protein. So you have your fat, your fiber, and your proteins that help keep you fuller for longer. So really making sure that you're getting enough of those. And this is a pizza dish. I think generally speaking, a lot of people might assume, oh, that's a no food, that's an unhealthy food. But we do want to demonstrate that you can have whatever you want in balance. And by making things yourself, you're in control of how much, the portion is, how much sodium, and how much you're intaking. So that's the benefits of, cooking for yourself.
So ricotta itself is fairly mild. I mean, there's not a lot of intensity, not a ton of flavor going on. It is really nice creamy, it has a really nice texture, but we want to spike that with a little bit more flavor. And so you can do that, you can add dried herbs, you can add even a little bit of lemon juice or orange juice. We're actually going to use just a little bit of the zest, so the outside of the lemon. And you can do this with any citrus fruit. It brings a ton of flavor to whatever dish you're adding it to. Just wash it, make sure you wash it really, really well. And then you can take something, this is called a microplane.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I'm learning a lot.
Yes. And we're going to just run the lemon across, and you're using it right because you will be hit in the face with a lemon oil punch. Because we're actually just sort of breaking those little cells, those oil cells. Yeah. And I'm sure you can smell that lemon. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And that's a really great tool to purchase. We find sometimes people who've had swelling in the arms, it's sometimes a little bit more difficult to move around in the kitchen. So having some apparatuses or appliances like this can be useful for managing around the movement. And where did you get yours?
I got mine just at a grocery store, actually. They're becoming a lot more accessible. You can find them at like kitchen.
Yeah.
So Winners has, there you go.
And Jeremy, what was it called again, just so we can make a mental note?
So it is called, so the technical term for the tool is called a rasp.
All right.
Okay, but the most popular brand name is called a microplane. It's sort of the Kleenex of, the tool, yeah.
Thank you.
I associate a rasp with a woodworking shop.
Well, that's where it came from. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and then someone, I guess, mixed lemons into their woodworking, and there you go.
Should be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. So I'm just being sort of not too finesse about it. Just want to sort of spread it kind of uneven because it sort of bakes up nicer like that when you have all these little heights and grooves in there. And it catches your ingredients a little bit better. And then for the topping, Tony, if you wouldn't mind, just add some of the mixture. And you can use the tongs, just place it right on top.
Yeah. So in terms of diets for weight loss, like I said, there is no one specific one, and everybody is different, depends on a lot of different things and what works well for your body. But, doing a weight loss regimen that is over a long term that can be sustainable is the most beneficial. There are, lots of research indicating that people have lost a lot of weight in a short amount of time, and then they gain that weight back. So the national, just trying to, my notes. So there was a research study that basically looked at people and the success rate of long-term weight loss, and they found that those people actually did 5 of the following things. They ate breakfast, or they had a morning meal daily. They exercised daily. They limited their television time, right? So instead of, let's say, watching or even having screen time, they went out to do walks. And that exercise didn't necessarily mean, going to the gym or whatever. It could have been bouts of 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. They also checked in with themselves. So they might have weighed themselves on a scale weekly, or noticed kind of how their clothes were fitting. And this was just a way to know for the long term, like how they needed to change their diet or behavioral changes to make that sustainable. And lastly, the 5th thing that they did was really tap into their why. So why was it important to have and maintain this weight loss or their weight. And you know, motivation is one thing, but kind of understanding you know, the deeper meaning and as to why it's important. So perhaps it's to keep your energy up, to be with your children or grandchildren, or to live a fuller life type of thing. So these were some things that, you know, I'd suggest as well for those who are looking to lose the weight. You know, it's not necessarily only about the foods coming in, but there are definitely other strategies to manage.
Well, Tony, you did a fantastic job.
Excellent.
Thank you. And very easy, very simple. So all we have to do now at this point, because the pita is already done, we just want to toast everything up, get a really nice texture on the pita, and get some color on the veggies and the ricotta. So what we want to do is, yes, question. So that's what we're looking like after a few minutes, just like 5-6 minutes, just to get some color on top. Really simple, and again, like I said, it does not take a long amount of time, right?
Well, I'm amazed at how easy cooking is.
There you go, see? Absolutely. So at this point, we're just gonna slice, we'll cut it up. We'll get a plate, and again, I think especially in the summer, it's always nice to finish it with something a little fresh. So it's already got some nice color, but we have some beautiful mint. And you can use basil or mint, but finishing a pizza with just some fresh herbs on top, because I would never put this into the oven, but just a little bit on top. And maybe just a little bit of lemon juice. Again, just something fresh, just to balance with all the cooked ingredients. Beautiful. And then maybe just a little bit of olive oil. Done. And there we go. Wow. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah.